What is a streamer?
I'm seriously this close now to throwing my GameCube controller on the floor! What the
Wow, the glitches just scared me and I'm not even actually looking.
Bear with me. There we go. Okay, well, not that kind. This kind. Hello, I'm Master Marslander, and this is the Bluesound Node Nano. It's an audio streamer. And though it might not look like much, it's just a little black box, this little black box is capable of turning your entire home audio system into a whole home audio network and really just take your home audio to the next level. What is an audio streamer? Well, it's surprisingly simple, but also surprisingly powerful in its simplicity. What a audio streamer is, and in this case, it's a little device that acts like a hub for your entire audio system and puts it through a network so you're able to connect multiple devices through this and be able to play your music from anywhere in your home. You could think of it as sort of like a hub server that houses not only your entire music library of digital files that you may have, but also give access to streaming systems like Tidal and Qobuz and so forth to devices that maybe otherwise wouldn't have access to those things. The implementation and technology used to make a system like this work is deceptively simple. And it's a brand new territory for me. I've never dealt with a streamer before now. So learning how to implement this into my home network was a journey in of itself. And again, it's surprisingly simple, but because of how simple it is, it almost makes it difficult to really understand how you would implement it in your home network. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to show you with visual aids I've created for you how I have implemented this into my home network to use in my home audio. But I want to give you the insight here that this is just me barely touching the surface of what you could do with a device like this. But hopefully this breakdown of how I have implemented it will give you maybe some sort of idea of how you might be able to use it in your home. So here's my setup. Most of my audio experience happens at my computer. This is where I have a lot of my test bench and amps and DACs. Everything is connected to my computer in some way or fashion. And I usually sit in my computer to listen to my music. And the music that I listen to either comes from streaming applications and softwares like Tidal or Qobuz, or from my own personal digital library of music that I have. How I have access to my digital library is through my network. My network is, of course, my internet network, but what is connected to my network is a NAS system. My NAS is where I house all of my digital files. Everything I have in there, thousands and thousands and thousands of audio tracks, are on my NAS. And because my NAS is connected to my home network, if I am able to access my home network from any sort of device, it means that I am able to access those audio files. And then I have my hi-fi system, my speaker system, and this system is in a completely different area of my home. It doesn't have access to the network. It doesn't have any sort of Wi-Fi connectivity or any sort of hardwire Ethernet connectivity to have access to the network, and therefore does not have any access to my music. I could potentially stream music to it through something like Bluetooth, but Bluetooth is generally not the best quality when we're talking about high-resolution audio. And this is where the Bluesound Node Nano comes into play, because what the Bluesound does is that I'm able to either wire directly into my network through Ethernet or through Wi-Fi. And even through Wi-Fi, I am able to play seamlessly all of these high-end audio files through anything that can also connect to the Node Nano. So my hi-fi system is connected to my Node Nano. My Node Nano has access to my network through Wi-Fi or Ethernet, and therefore has access to my library of music, which means I'm able to both stream music through my favorite softwares and applications, Tidal, whatever, but also have access to my huge library of music, which I've never been able to do before with my hi-fi system. This is how I use it, and it is remarkably powerful and remarkably simple to use. And what's even better about it is that Bluesound has their own ecosystem, which means that if I get their OS ecosystem to have access to the Node Nano, I can do that on pretty much any device. I can do it on my phone, on my computer. My wife's phone can have access to it. I can get a tablet. Any device that has access to the Bluesound ecosystem will have access to the network and all the music and be able to control it from wherever they want in any device anywhere in the house. And that's huge. I've never been able to do that. If I wanted to, I could also have the sound system in my entertainment room have access to my music library and streaming softwares. Stuff that I've just never had the option for before, or if I did, it just wasn't implemented particularly well. Well, now it really could not be more simple to use, simple to have access to all these things. And this is what the streamer is all about. The streamer is about having a hub network for all of your audio services or your own personal library that you can have access to, and all your devices that can connect through Wi-Fi or Ethernet. And as we know, Wi-Fi and Ethernet means that you have high quality, high resolution audio that you otherwise wouldn't have from even the highest quality Bluetooth. So let's take a quick minute to look at the unit itself. It is just a simple black box. But simplicity is kind of the key word here when it comes to the Node Nano. This is just a simple, straight, no frills streamer. It's just a streamer. It's not trying to be anything else, not trying to be anything more fancy than that. It's a streamer. That's what it's going to do. Taking a look at the I/O, we have first our audio output RCA. We have an coaxial output and our optical output, which does support Toslink. We have USB-C and LAN, our little Ethernet port right here, which is a gigabit Ethernet port so that you can wireless directly into your network if you wanted to do that. And then the USB here you could do for external storage as well with a formatted FAT32 external hard drive. We have an IR in right here, which is 3.5 millimeter, and a trigger out 12 volt, also 3.5 millimeter. And then power right here, DC in, is USB-C 5 volts. So this actually has an external power supply, which yes, does mean you're going to have a black external power brick to go with your cable. But the benefit of this having an external power supply means that it can be used with linear power supplies. And that's a pretty big deal. I've known people that have bought streamers before, actually opened them up, just tore out the power supply built in so that they could then do their own wired in for a linear power supply. So you don't have to worry about that with this thing. It is ready to be used for linear power supplies right out of the gate if you want to go that route. In terms of our wireless connectivity, we do have support for Bluetooth 5.2, which is aptX adaptive. So it's a two-way receive and transmit. And of course, you can connect this with Bluetooth headphones if you want to go that way, or Bluetooth speakers, whatever. But even more importantly is that it has dual band Wi-Fi so that you were able to connect wirelessly through your home internet network rather than having to rely on Bluetooth. As you can see, there is no physical output for subwoofers. However, it does support wireless pulse sub plus if you have a wireless subwoofer. And then the whole unit weighs approximately 1.25 pounds. So now let's talk specs for the Node Nano. The Node Nano implements a ESS Q2M Saber DAC with Hyperstream 4 technology, which means it can stream FLAC, WAVE, AAC, and even MQA if you want to go that route. It has an ARM Cortex A53 quad-core processor. There are 2 programmable quick-touch presets on the display screen. It offers DSD playback, radio and streaming via Apple AirPlay, Spotify Connect, and Tidal Connect. It is Roon ready, has 2-way aptX adaptive Bluetooth, and supports Amazon Alexa skills through voice controls. One unfortunate thing about Bluesound in general, it's not just with the Node Nano here, but Bluesound hasn't really started implementing this in their ecosystem in general. There's no real EQ built into this. There's not even a paramedic EQ. There's really nothing other than basic tone control for treble and bass. I can show you that in the app right here. So that's a bit of a downer. It would be really, really nice if they implemented some kind of EQ in here, but unfortunately they just don't have that. They have said in a couple forums that they're looking at implementing EQ into the OS software, but for now, you're gonna have to do your EQ outside of it, probably in some sort of pathway in your chains that has access to the EQ before it gets to the Node Nano. How does the Node Nano sound? For the most part, it's a very transparent thing. It's not really trying to add a whole lot of flavoring to your music, But the DAC in there is really, really lovely. It adds just this subtle layer of like honey-like warmth and smoothness to your sound, which means that some more like clinical sounding speakers might have a little bit of that like top end sharpness kind of smooth out a little bit. So it makes everything just sound really, really pleasant and in no way kind of hyper tinny, artificial and clinical. It's just a really pleasing sound, and it genuinely has improved the quality and the of my hi-fi system to the point where I want to spend more time in there, more time in front of my speakers. I know I'm a headphone guy for the most part, but man, even my wife was impressed. She came by while I was testing out stuff. She's like, "Oh my God, that sounds amazing. What have you done?" So yeah, it does add just a loveliness to your speakers. So let's reinforce here that this is just a plain, simple audio streamer. It's not trying to do anything else. It's not trying to be anything else. It's just there to give you the functionality of turning your home audio into a home audio network that you can access from anywhere in your home. That's what it is trying to do. That's what it accomplishes. It doesn't have any other bells and whistles. You can go into higher end models, either through Bluesound or something like Weem Audio, and you'll have access to, colorful displays, maybe even some parametric EQs and equalizers. And yeah, you'll be able to access more and more features. But this here, the Node Nano, it's not about features. It's about functionality. And that's what this is. It turns your home into a whole audio system. And that's the function. It does an amazing job at that. It's something that I didn't think I needed in my home, but by golly, am I glad I have it now, because man, has it opened up doorways, pathways for whole new ways of enjoying my music and my audio everywhere in my home. It's such a cool little device. And again, so simple, but can do so much for you if you go through the motions and the rituals and the almost like Tetris-like brain thinking of how you want to implement it. And again, the way I've implemented this thing is very, very simple. I am positive that you can do a heck of a lot more with this, do a lot more crazy connectivity, go all over the place with it. There's a lot of functionality here that I'm not even touching the surface of. But hopefully this video and me kind of breaking out how I have utilized it is giving you maybe some ideas, inspiring you of how you might be able to improve your home audio. So thank you very much, Bluesound, for sending over the Node Nano. This thing is dope. I love it. And man, again, I'm enjoying my music in a totally different way now. It's so cool. Hope you enjoyed this. That's about it. See you again soon.